Peasant Productions presents the math of ESP, why it works even if you don't believe in it. Okay, continuing on the idea of construction data and Occupy ISS, why I can do things that the governments, corporations, military can't do, okay? Like I said, I've got a half-brother that works for one of the military war machines, and you have to understand the level of secrecy if everybody around him is investigated by at least the FBI level, okay? Because both he, the family, that step-family, and myself travel outside the country, the CIA is also involved automatically, okay? You can be paranoid if you want, yes, it's quite fun to run around screaming, oh my God, there's a boogeyman in the closet! But what do you do? Yeah, you waste a lot of energy being paranoid. And yes, as a kid I did grow up with a 1970s poster, you know, with a poster that was basically about smoking pot, but it said, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. It's a reality statement, okay? Yes, you can be paranoid because real people are there. You can be paranoid because there's shadows. Either way. But if you understand they're there and you just simply accept it and you move forward, you kind of change their game because they want you to be afraid. And that's why I point out that you have, you know, this huge fear tactics. 9/11 happens the exact day after Rumsfeld tells the world that the United States Pentagon lost $23 trillion. The Las Vegas shooting, after whoever was at that time to admit that the United States military had lost something like $13 trillion. It's very interesting that they go out, they admit this, and then you suddenly have this extreme problem that takes everybody's mind off of it. In the news industry, we call that sensationalizing and burying a story. You admit something terribly horrible the day before, and then before your audience has a chance to really think about that, you give them something utterly shocking to think about otherwise. Dead bodies are more of a concern than the military misplacing a few $1 trillion, okay? So you have this effect going on, and they have to have this secrecy, and they have to have this tension, and they have to have this compartmentalized concern and worry. So they cannot go out and to the whole entire world broadcast data and information on how to build life ships, how to get off the planet, how to survive out there, how to do stuff. And I can sit out here, and in my one little man revolution, I can continuously pump out data, help you people understand exactly what the potentials are up there that they do not want you to realize. And like I pointed out, because the elite rich have no answer for this double whammy, okay? They have won the super lotto. They are going to die. They have absolutely nothing they can do about it, okay? The Super Bowl done bopped on them on their heads and kicked them in the butts, and they don't know what to do because they never once in their life ever considered that with over 1 million bacteria and 1 million viruses and you know, at least thousands of different types of algae and you know, mosses and molds and things that can rapidly mutate. Dumping everything you can think of that causes mutation into your environment would never affect that. Oh no, humans can't affect anything because they're little things, okay? So you see the problem they ran into. They now understand they have nowhere to go. They have nothing to save them. They have no ability to produce anything. Like I said, the only way my system works is everybody, pretty much literally on every continent. I mean, if you can do something on the Antarctica continent, fine, there is no massive military down there, there is no secret spaceship bases and stuff like that. But you need to be on all 6 continents. You need to be getting stuff together that every country, everywhere, thousands of people in thousands of systems and thousands of setups are building these live ships and getting into space. Because anybody, anywhere can be affected by a major hurricane storm. You know, like I said, you know, in 2 years, the United States government has had to deal with 2 extreme storms hitting their coast. They are looking at another one coming in the next few days. And they're just going to keep, you know, they're going to barrel roll on through now. It's the high point season for hurricanes, and they're going to become charging up through that extremely hot water that they're trying to tell you isn't really that warm, but you go look at the actual temperature, satellite maps and stuff like that, and there's a lot of problems that will definitely feed the hurricane stuff. Now, in order to show you what I can do and what I am able to think of, because I am not a Secret Service person. I'm not an elite little thing. And oh, by the way, I'm going to make a meme on this. Think about the fact that militaries protect dynasties. Okay? What is dynasty? If you slow it down into its, you know, basically into its two syllables, what is it? Dynasty. Dynasty. Dynasty, yeah. Military protects dynasty groups. Yeah, they will go around and kill anybody they don't like. They are now in the hot seat of their own death, and they actually need somebody like me, which is an absolute radical that has nothing of interest with them other than the fact that if they get involved, because they control media and all this other stuff, yeah, they can actually let it get out there that you people need my help. And in my saving the world, yeah, those people, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Soros, get to try and save themselves too. Now, one of the things, like I said, I want to show here, we're talking about, you know, data for construction stuff. I am going to pick on the military here, okay? And I'm kind of in a sideways thing, going to pick on Trump, okay? Trump and his space force and all of that, they come running up and they need to build a 100-mile-long naval vessel in space. Well, if you're a shipbuilder, you know you got to have a 100-mile-long or more keel for that ship. If you're using one of my satellites as a smelting system, okay, you have all of these operations going in here, and you have, like I said, a zero gravity on either end that is going out in, you know, basically goes out into cold space. Rotation there is very, very minimal at that point in time. Your higher rotation is out here where you have your gravity and stuff at the outside walls at the equator, okay? You begin extruding a tube, or not a tube, but an I-beam. Let me find my right notes here. Okay, you extrude an I-beam, okay, and it's going to come out through your cooling tube here. Now, this cooling tube, obviously, you're going to have a very hot section as it first comes out. You're going to have this hot section as it first comes out, then you're going to have a cold section, and then you can start extruding this, okay? If this is 10 miles long, it doesn't matter, okay? You come down through your stages of cooling and all that, and as it gets to the end, you squirt your I-beam, or more likely, we're going to want the hexagram rather than this, okay? This is under a gravity strain. This is going to be under a mass strain. So you want this tube to have unilateral, a circular one is quite strong. The hexagram is actually a tad bit, you know, dividable strength between a circle and a tube, but the hexagram allows you flat sides, which you can then build off of. So you have a 100-mile long, you know, hex beam come out. It comes squirting out here, okay? Now, this little bit here, what I'm showing here, would be a gasket system. Now, I like redundancy, so I'm going to pick 20 of these gaskets set up every so often. And the tube literally goes through it, and the gaskets are set up to remain airtight, okay? Now, you're squirting out this 100-mile long tube, and one of these gaskets fails. Well, if it's cut and it's built as a two semicircles coming in, you have overlap here and here to maintain your air seal, and you have your gasket on either side quickly replaceable. And if you got 20 of these things, you can literally, as production is working, send an astronaut out there or spacewalker out there. He pops it open. He pulls out, the gasket that's failing, because you got air pressure monitors in every section. So as soon as something starts dropping below a certain level, you know the gasket has gone weak. You go in there, you change it out, and you never stop production. This is the cold end of the tube, folks. You're not going to melt this. It's nothing really super major. It just has to be a stiff enough gasket material, and yes, you can make these out of plant plastic. It just has to be a stiff enough material that air is just not going to blow through. And with 20 of these things, this one fails or that one fails, and you've got all this redundancy factor of all these others that are, helping slowly lower down the pressure and let it exit out. And you literally squirt this metal rod or glass rod or ceramic rod or whatever out into space. You're in zero gravity, so there is not going to be any flexing up and down. We can't do this on the moon. You can use the same system on the moon, but because you're dealing with, you can do this on the moon, but because you're dealing with a low-level gravity, 1/6 of Earth gravity on the moon, as this thing gets out, it's going to start bending. Okay, here you never have that problem, except that you're dealing with the rotation here, and if you have all of this smelting processes and hot gases and things like that, you have a very easy system of simply taking that waste gas, running it tubes down through this, and every so often you have little, jets that, maybe every 100 feet, every 500 feet, every 1,000 meters, you have jets on there that keep the rotation of your cooling tube itself, and that spin should create enough for this piece coming out at reasonable lengths. If this is 10 miles long, you can probably spit a 10-mile long piece out before, and there's no friction again, before any kind of twisting would be developing at the end, because the whole thing is a structural member. It's just simply going to rotate. It's got the rotation that comes out through the gaskets. It's going to continue rotation as it goes up. So you don't lose anything there. And even if you did at a 100-mile long keel for a space naval ship, you could be placing small independent little rocket packs like you have on the rats and the space shuttles out there, and these things just go ahead, and again you're using you have a little chamber of fuel out here, some kind of reactionary mass, and you clamp these onto your tube as you need to, and it just continues to spin, so you don't ever have any problem. And again, like I said, whether you're a mile long I-beam or 1,000-mile long I-beam in space, it's not really going to matter, because there's not really anything other than micrometeorites and stuff like that. Like I said, you can change these out during production, so you don't lose anything. Whereas military or corporations, where they have to have their hierarchy and all that, they'd be looking at having to somehow in the middle of a 100-mile long I-beam cut it in half, pull these bad gaskets out from way inside, and then put everything back together. Whereas my system, if you got 20 of these and they're all half circles, you can go up and down the line as you need to. 1, 7, and 10 need to be replaced on Monday, and 9, 8, and 5 need to be replaced on Tuesday. Okay, it's that simple. And yeah, see, I can just give you data, and the military can't. Northrop Grumman would die. Elon Musk would die. Richard Branson would die, that I just gave you the entire world how to go up there and make production of something that is a key factor to being able to do anything, anytime, anywhere, because you can push anything out that, and you can have these manufacturing satellites anywhere you need them, whether it's Mars orbit, Earth orbit, Venus orbit, Saturn orbit, it all works. Okay?